Hey guys, welcome back to another video where we're going to be continuing on with our H5P series. So what we did in the previous video was we had a look at a simple drag and drop activity in which you sort of have a paragraph with some words missing and the students need to then drag the corresponding word into the paragraph. So what we're going to be doing is taking that a step forward, and we're going to be looking at being able to implement similar activities but into a video. So the first thing I'm going to do is, again, top right hand corner, we're going to turn editing on. And as we did last time, we're going to create a H5P activity in the week that we want it to sort of be present. Now, again, for simplicity, I'm going to put it down in resources, but you guys can put it in week 1, week 2, wherever you want it to go. So in resources, I'm going to then click add an activity or resource, and I'm going to click H5P interactive content. Now, under create content, I'm going to click interactive video. Now, this is at the top of my list because this is the one I most recently used. However, you can search for different content types. So if you cannot see interactive video, you can just type interactive video or just interactive, and we can see it'll appear at the top there. So I'm just going to click on that, and we can see a whole new menu will pop up, as well as this tour guide, which unfortunately will pop up every single time. So we're just going to click exit on that. Now, this is a 3-step process. We need to find a video, we need to add interactions or activities, and then if you want to, you can add a summary task at the end. So the first thing I'm going to do is give this a title. Now, how I typically title my activities and videos is I will use a code. So for instance, I'll put 5_4_1. And what that does for me is that says week 5, video 4, activity 1. So that's just something that I personally do. You can title it whatever you'd like. What we have to do now is add the video. So we need to tell H5P, hey, here's the video I want you to use. Now, you have a couple of different options here. If you have a video that is already embedded in Moodle, or you've uploaded it to Moodle, in the same way that you linked it within your sort of learning experience or learning activities, how you got that URL, similar to what we can see at the top here, just grab that video's URL and we can paste it here. You can also upload the video, or if you've got your video on YouTube, like I do with mine, we can go to share and we can take the URL here. So what I'm going to do is just paste that URL link and I'm going to click insert. And that just tells Moodle, hey, here's the video I want you to use. Now, the next thing I'm going to do just before we move on to add interactions is I'm going to click on behavioral settings here. And this is kind of a setting that we can add for the entire video. And if we drop down this little menu here, we have a lot of different things that we can choose. So we can start a video at a particular time. So if say you have a really long video, but you only want students to look at sort of the last 15 minutes, you can tell Moodle, okay, start the video at this time point. Now, all of these you can do at your discretion. It's entirely up to you. But one I am going to do is override the show solution button. Now, the reason I am overriding this show solution button is the same justification I used in the previous video. That is, I want students to be able to attempt the question. I don't care how many times they need to retry it. I just want them to actually give the question a go and not just sort of jump for the show solution button. But again, this is entirely up to you. So I'm now going to scroll up and I'm going to click on add interactions. What we can see here is we can see my thumbnail for the video. And if I click play, the video will begin playing. Now, what I then do is we can see up the top here, we have a wide number of different activities. So we have things like statements, a single choice set, multiple choice, true, false, fill the blanks, which again, like fill the blanks was the one we did previously. So what you do is we can click on one of these activities. So let's start off with a multiple choice. So I click on multiple choice. And we can see now a new menu has popped up and we've got a whole heap of different options. The first thing here is the display time. So this is at what point in the video you want this sort of multiple choice question to appear. So what I personally recommend is to sit down and watch this video or watch your own video, I should say rather. And when you hit a point where you feel, hey, this is a good opportunity for me to ask this question, or, in class, I would typically stop what I'm currently teaching and ask the class this type of question, that's when I would hit the pause button and add this activity. So what I've done here is around 1 minute and 11 seconds, I've found it sort of a good opportunity for me to insert a question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a multiple choice question. So I'm just going to click multiple choice. And we can see this new menu has appeared. Now, the display time. I will add the start time, which I've selected, which was 1 minute and 11 seconds. But we can see the end time is 10 seconds later. Now, this is a bit of a problem for me because what this is doing by default is this question will appear, but the video is going to continue playing and the question is going to be in front of the video for 10 seconds. I have an issue with this because one, the students are then looking at the question and not paying attention to the video. And two, anything in which that question is up in front of the screen, the students aren't going to be able to see it properly. So what I do is I will change the end time to be the same as the start time. And then I will click pause video. What this does is the video will be playing. And once the video hits 1 minute and 11 seconds, the video will pause and then the question will pop up in front of them. Then once the students answer the question, the video will resume. The next one here is display. I don't want to display it as a button because that requires the students to click on the button to see the question, and the button can be quite small. So I change this to a poster. We now need to give this a title. So the activity is 541, and I'm going to just call it question 1, multiple choice. Again, how you label the titles is entirely up to you. And the next part here is inserting the question. So the question I want to put is, whereabouts in the body would you expect to find hemoglobin in its R state? So we're going to put some options here. The first one, which is the correct option, is the lungs. I'm then going to put tissues, which is the sort of commonly incorrect chosen answer. And then we'll add a couple extra. We'll go heart and brain. And with all of these too, you can add like sort of tips and feedback. So if they do check this answer, you can say, look, well done, that was correct. Or if it was, incorrect, you say like, that's not correct. Maybe look at this chapter or this week's content, etc., etc. Now, scrolling down here, now we also have an option here for behavioral settings. So if I drop this down, you can see enable retry and enable show solution button. Now the enable retry, again, very important we have that ticked because if the students get it wrong, it allows them to reattempt the question. The enable show solution button, I always untick this. But also keep in mind that at the beginning of the video, we went through the behavioral settings and we disabled the show solution button for everything. So by doing it back then, we don't need to do it every single time with these individual questions. We also have a lot of other options here, like randomize answers, require answers before the solutions can be viewed. There's a lot of things here that you can sort of tweak and change in terms of this question delivery. We're then going to scroll down and we can see a little button here that says done. So we're going to click done. Now, what that has done is you can see this question is now in a poster form. This is why we chose poster instead of button at the beginning when we were setting up this multiple choice question. But we have a bit of a problem here. You can't really see it properly. That's okay, because what we can do is click and drag, and we can actually move this around. We can resize it. And we can sort of center it like so. So what is going to happen if I rewind this video a little bit? We can see it's at 1 minute and 7 seconds. So if I press play, what that is going to do is the video is going to play, then it's going to pause and it's going to prompt me with this question. Now I cannot answer this question because obviously I'm in the editing mode. But once you sort of save and complete the task, you will be able to interact with this activity. Now, one big thing I really do want to bring to everyone's attention here, and this is unfortunately a feature that has not been added to H5P or Moodle, there is no autosave. So what that means is anytime you make a big change like what we have done right now, I highly recommend that we scroll down to the very bottom and we click save and display. Otherwise, if you close the window, if you hit the back button, if you refresh the page, you lose all of your work. So it is very important that we constantly are saving. So I'm going to hit save and display. Now, depending on how much sort of Moodle is being used, this can actually take a while. This can take upwards of sort of 1 to 2 minutes. And we can indeed, see mine is still trying to save here. So if yours does delay or take a moment, don't panic. Don't start hitting the back button. Just lift your hands off the keyboard and let Moodle do its thing. So once you've hit save and display, what we can then do is go back into editing our content by clicking the little gear cog here and click edit settings. And this will take us right back to where we were. So we can go back to add interactions and we can see there's a little dot on the timeline here. That is where we put our first multiple choice question. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add a second activity just to sort of link us back to our first video. So what I'm going to do at around 2 minutes and 13 seconds, I want to add a new activity. So I'm going to add a fill in the blanks. So I'm going to click on fill in the blanks and we can see a very similar menu has appeared. So what I'm going to do is almost identical to what I did with the multiple choice. So I want to change the start time. I want to change the end time to be the same as the start time. And I'm going to click pause video. Display as, we want to display it as a poster. And we're going to give it a title. So 541 question 2. Task description, I'm just going to keep that as fill in the missing words. And in the exact same way that we did in the previous video where we have, say, a paragraph of text and students need to then click and drag or write in the correct answer, we're going to add in the same thing here. So I'm just going to add in one that I wrote earlier and we can see here we've written the paragraph out, but anytime when we want a word to be blank or withheld, we're going to put a little asterisk. Under behavioral settings, this is when you can change things like, again, the show solutions button. If we are getting students to type their answer, there's a couple of things that we can change here. So for instance, case sensitive. There's no reason for me to make this case sensitive. I don't care if they use capital letters or lowercase letters, so I'm going to untick that. Another thing too that I'm going to tick is accept minor spelling errors. So how this works is that if the students make a minor error, if they miss a letter or something like that, it will still accept it as correct. Now, again, this is not an examinable assessment. This is simply for students to sort of assist and support them on their learning. I'm quite happy to tick yes to accept minor spelling errors. And I'm going to click done. And again, we can see that this activity is as a poster. I'm just going to click and drag this and just resize it so that the students are able to see it properly. One other setting I would recommend that you do tick is prevent skipping forward a video. And I also recommend clicking the show button for rewinding 10 seconds. What this does, it allows students to rewind the video, but it disables students from just fast forwarding straight to the end and saying, hey, I've completed the activity. Now, as we scroll down, we can see we're sort of moving away from this H5P section. We've sort of got grade, restrict access, activity completion. Once we've finished this, we're going to click save and return to course. Again, this may take a few minutes or it can happen instantly as well. The timing of it just varies enormously. But if we scroll down, now I saved mine under resources, we can see this H5P activity. So if I click on that, and what we can see now is the video, but we can see these same dots. And if we play the video, and what we can see now is like, as I've hit play and as the video continues, it will then hit this first point, it will pause. Here is the multiple choice question that I wrote asking me for the correct answer. So I'm going to hit lungs, click check. Yes, it says, cool, that was correct. Continue on with the video. And once we've done all of that, the last thing I want to quickly explain is how to download and save these. So if you want to download and save these or reuse them in different course sites, what you can do is hit the button called reuse. So if you click this, it'll come up with an option to either copy the content or download as a .h5p file. So If you download this as a .h5p file, it allows you to then re-upload it on, say, a different course or a different learning management system, like say Blackboard or something else. So guys, I hope this video was of use to you. Please let me know if there's anything else that you guys are struggling with that you would like me to make a video to sort of give you a walkthrough on. Have a good week, guys. I'll see you next time.